Right, I'm just in the kitchen here preparing for my next session, hopefully out this afternoon, this evening. It's about 10 in the morning and I've literally just got a bucket and put 2 kilo of 10mm pellets in it, and what you can see there is a mixture of predominantly halibut pellet and a small amount of Scretton's winter feed. The reason I like the Scretton's winter feed is they break down and change colour. You'll notice those halibut pellets will break down and change colour, but the Scretton's do exactly the same thing quicker, so it gives the illusion that they've been out there a bit longer. So it's just a bit of visual attraction and a bit of psychology, I suppose. It could stand for nothing. But what I do is I get the 2 kilo of pellet, roughly 2 kilo, and I tip in 1, 2 tins of sweet corn, okay? And what I want to do is mix that around a bit. Now, I'm going to leave that for an hour or two to allow the juice of the sweet corn to soak into the pellet and to make it a bit softer, and then we'll commence with the next step. Right folks, here's a top tip. As the groundnut oil, it's basically a nutty peanut oil. Anybody that's been to Five Guys for a burger, their burgers and chips are cooked in peanut oil, and this is a variant of that. When I cook burgers at home, I discovered this, but it is absolutely a brilliant oil because it has a real nutty texture and flavour to it to put into your spod mix. So as you can see there, about 15 minutes ago, I just gave them a good glug of that oil, and I have let it set for about 2 hours from using the sweet corn juice to soak in to now glazing them with a big glug of oil, well, 2 big glugs of oil. What I want to do is let that soak in a bit for another hour or two, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some crumb boilies, some half boilies and some whole boilies, and that really is the essence of the spod mix. As you can see from the video, I wanted to keep the mix relatively cheap, so I took 2 or 3 handfuls of Horizon 15mm versatile boilies. I then took my crusher tool and crushed some of the boilie to a very fine dust, just like ground bait, and some of the rest of the boilies I put in chunks just to give different particles falling through the water at different speeds. This gave the fish different options and maybe would have helped secure a bite.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
That'll be alright. Right, well here we are. Glenn has just taken out my bivvy because he's had maybe one sherbet too many, but I've just had this nice little mirror. I've just went to go to the toilet and the rod's roared off. I'm not going to lie to you, in my true professionalism I thought it was a trout when I first lifted into it, but I'll stick the scales on it now. We'll get a quick weight and then we'll get them put back. Happy days. Where'd I set them scales? On top of my bivvy there? 7.4. I'm going 7.4.
Aye, 7 something.
It might not even be 7, you know.
It's even like 7. That was.
Oh no, hold on.
9, 10.
No, it's 8.2.
8.2.
8.2. Well then guys, it is the day after the night before. Hopefully you've seen the footage of that little 8'2" mirror I had during the night. Lovely scaly looking little fish. Obviously you'll know from previous sessions here on my Syndicate there's fish into the 30-pound bracket here. So that is literally all that came out last night. There's 3 of us fishing this bank here. I came down for a bit of a quiet one that's turned into a bit of a social. It was good crack. Glenn, he missed his footing last night and back to try and get his light to help me, and fell over my bivvy, knocked the 2 storm poles into each other, sent the brolly system halfway up the lake. So I could do nothing but laugh. Like, it was quite funny, and there's no damage caused at all. It's just one of those things. He missed footing and lost it, but we've had 1 in the bag, so I can't complain. It's off to a good start. I'm going to stay again tonight. I literally had to reel in early this morning. I had to go to the hospital for a treadmill test and then straight back down. So I rested to swim for a few hours when I got back, took a few laps of the lake, seen a few fish feeding, and I've dropped a rig on their nose. Literally sent the boat onto the spot and dropped it very stealthily. Now the hopper on the boat, as it clunked, I think from what I could see, it did spook a few fish, but hopefully it'll not be long before they're back into the area. It is a spot they're known to feed. This lake's a funny one. Bites are usually coming on the dark, early hours of the morning and through the night. However, recently there has been a few anglers that have had a few fish out during the day. So we'll see what happens. If something does happen, I'll hopefully try and get a bit of video footage of it. Very difficult last night. I was literally just getting up to go for a pee. I was down having a chat with the guys. I took 2 steps in front of me and I got a 1-toner, which is great, because apparently the last couple of runs from this place from a few folk, they have been quite skittery bites. And as you know from the previous videos, this place is absolutely rammed with brown trout. But luckily for us, touch wood, they have been not very active and we haven't had much bother. Was getting a lot of liners through the night. I don't know whether that was carp feeding on the area or whether it was trout lifting the bait. 2-hinge stiff rigs, sorry, doubled over Tasket Deceptive with a size 6 ace hook. I don't know whether it was trout because there was no markings on the pop-ups, or whether it was just liners from the area and fish grubbing, but it's looking promising. There was an issue here yesterday where there is an outflow through a hydro dam that's controlled to generate electricity and generate money for the guys that own this place, and there was a fault with one of the valve sensors and it was pouring water out like it was going out of fashion. So we lost probably what looked to be about 2 foot of water. So the spots that are the spots, if this makes sense, are 2 foot further back from where they previously were, just to get you into that optimal depth of water. Tonight the water levels are rising here this afternoon. I'm imagining we're hopefully going to be back on point from where we should be. Water's trickling in. I was up looking at the river. Slowly but surely it's coming back down into the lake. So it seems to be getting the way it is. I've a building site up behind me here. Camera's turned round because there's a lot of sun. We should be out looking towards the water, but to be honest, it's not great. I've only 1 rod fishing at the minute, should I say, to that spot I was telling you about. No point having another rod out when I don't see it buying me a bite. I've seen fish in one area. I've put a rod where I've seen fish. I just don't have the confidence to cast a rod blindly out, or boat a rod, whatever I'm going to do, blindly in this spot with nothing. Sort of I was round looking and it doesn't seem like there's much signs of fish there. Hard to tell. Sometimes they're sitting in the mid-levels of that deeper water and coming into the shallower water. You tend to find up in those pegs, or you've seen me fish before in the Oaks, the sit up there. I counted 87 fish yesterday afternoon sitting up there just basking in the sun. It's a false economy. I've sat up there fishing for them and the rod hasn't went off at all for days and days. Other times you hardly see a fish up there and something drifts in. My biggest fish was from the peg up there, 26.2. Just one of those things, isn't it? But we'll give it another night tonight. if nothing comes, sure, what does it matter? I've already had a fish, I've something for the video, something to talk about, and something to vlog about. But I'll keep you posted if anything happens. Hopefully there's a bit more action. If any of the lads get anything, Matthew or Glenn, I'll get that stuck into the video as well. And if anybody ends up even with a, dare I say it, a decent big trout, I'll get that on, because I know some of the guys had asked before if we had some of the bigger trout, could we get that on video. I'm going to shut up now. I am going to have a lie down on the bed chair and just watch out the water over the spot and hope for the best. But again, I'm not really confident till early this evening. As a light levels drop and the fish get a wee bit more confident. But I'll catch up with you in a bit. Happy days. Well folks, we're in the night two. I've just put the rods out for the evening. One rod is back on the spot where I had that fish. The second rod is out where I seen some fish cruising about the day. I went down and fed a spot and there was about 4 fish, and when I come back after putting the rig in position, somebody minded my receiver and I took a walk back round and there was 9 fish over the spot. And to be honest, I couldn't bear a bite. They were cruising right over the top of the baited area, literally with their bellies touching the bait as they were passing through, in about 3.5 foot of water. And could I buy a bite? I mean, I was sitting there at a couple of liners and I thought things were ready to happen, and it materialised into absolutely nothing. But as you can see, it's a lovely Thursday evening, Big Fish Thursday, whether we'll have something or whether we won't. But lovely night for it, hopefully something on the bank, but we'll wait and see. As I say, as you know from the video, I have the spod mix with the pellet, the corn, the crumbed versatile boilie, and a big glug of the groundnut oil over the top. So hopefully that produces the business. I've given a good feed tonight. The bailiff was down and he's put 10k pellet around the lake as well. That could put them off. As you know from previous videos, there's a load of trout in here. Trout could end up feeding on that as well. I feel a bit underprepared, if I must say. I wasn't ready for this session. It was very last minute. I actually thought I was going to go to a different lake, but I had an appointment to go to and it just suited because it was very close to here that I could nip out this morning. We'll see how it goes. If I get something during the night, I'll keep you posted. If not, I'll catch up with you in the morning. All right, thanks very much. Happy days.
You put the river in the way and I fell over the top of it. For fuck's sake, boys, there's no fucking bodies left. You don't fucking hurry up.